In this video we are going to talk about 10 pranks that went terribly wrong. So before starting this video, like this video and subscribe to our channel for future updates. All practical jokes are hilarious until they go wrong. Complicated jokes that resulted in illness, arrest, and even death are included in this list of practical jokes gone awry. While most of them have teenage boys in common. Reckless ignorance is another recurring theme, or, more typically, both of these things combined. Not at your house, please. What fantastic pranks have gone horribly wrong? What are some of the worst examples of jokes gone tragically wrong? You might find it amusing to terrify folks and egg cars, they go together, right? However, there have been instances where a humorous prank went tragically wrong. These are the funniest responses to any practical joke ever. Number 10. Students use laxatives to poison teachers. You know how thrilling it can be when someone brings in free food if you work in an office, school, or another mind-numbing place that you have to go to every day for the majority of the day, while the rest of the world goes on outside your beige walls having fun without you. A delicious-looking homemade chocolate iced bun cake with red sugar flecks was delivered to the school office in 2008 by 3 outstanding Brooklyn high school seniors. Teachers and staff eagerly got started, but almost immediately 5 of them started to feel their stomachs rumbling severely and their mouths going numb. The truth was revealed: those tiny red candies were actually Dulcolax. When 2 victims arrived at the hospital, the medical staff noted that they shared many of the signs of pesticide poisoning. A buddy of one of the offenders stated, "Nobody's died from a laxative." He found it amusing. I also found it to be humorous. Number 9. Teenager from Iceland calls George Bush's personal number. Phil Atlason, 16, doesn't recall where he received the president of the free world's personal phone number. But he kept it for a while before calling in 2007 to request a private meeting. Hold on to your hats, because it turns out that the White House spokesperson's claim that he had called the West Wing's main switchboard was a big fat lie. Phil was allowed to pass through many layers of security, each of which interrogated him about his identity as he pretended to be the genuine Icelandic President Lafur Ragnargrimsson, questions he easily answered by consulting Wikipedia. Bush's secretary eventually advised Phil to anticipate a call from the president soon. Instead, the police arrived at his house, took him back to the station, and questioned him for a long time in an effort to identify the leak's origin. Phil Atlason rose to fame as a local hero in a nation that wasn't very fond of George W. So, if the youngster ever called Bush, what did he intend to say? "I merely wanted to communicate with him, invite him to Iceland, and see what he would say," he said. Sounds like a solid plan of action. Number 8. Teens hide a stop sign and murder 2 elderly women. It is not common knowledge that the male teenager is at the peak of his mental faculties. Therefore, it is not surprising when one acts in an extremely foolish manner. 2 comedy geniuses, 18 and 19, both guys, in a village outside of Columbus, Ohio, came up with the brilliant idea to wrap a stop sign in petroleum jelly and plastic wrap in order to hide it from oncoming traffic in August 2011. The bright masterminds boasted about their success on Facebook since they were so ecstatic about it. Since they passed that crossing frequently, many drivers were able to pass the hidden stop sign without incident. But the raucous laughter soon died down. Jean Shea, 80, entered the intersection at 4 p.m. after driving past the covered sign. Shea's sister Mary Spangler, 85, was murdered when an approaching motorist struck and totaled her car. Before Shea passed away in September, she spent 3 weeks in a severe state and had her leg amputated above the knee. Well done, guys. The boys admitted guilt to the allegation of willful homicide. Number 7. Dude uses fake gun to kill friend. During Thanksgiving 2010 in Vermont, 2 friends, Nicholas Bell, age 23, and Jeffrey Charbonneau, age 24, were staying with the family of a third friend. Bell did what any good friend would do: he picked up an unfamiliar air weapon, pointed it at his friend's chest, and shot. Charbonneau was sound asleep at the time. Imagine his horror when Charbonneau started spitting out blood. He was merely trying to rouse him up. The unfortunate man was declared dead on the spot. Oops. Number 6. Murder of a troublemaker for egging a car. When you were a child, did you ever build egg houses? I didn't like it since it looked rude, but different yolks suit different people. Danny Crawford, 14, and his friends enjoyed tossing eggs at automobiles in the wee hours of the morning. They were probably just tickled pink by a direct hit. I'm not sure which of two outcomes Crawford preferred. A splatter on a glass would make the prettiest mess, whereas a hit on a car door would cause the most actual damage. Number 5. Senior in high school punished for balloon theft. The senior class of Service High School in Anchorage, Alaska, participated in a complex treasure hunt that took them all over the city each year. In 1992, 18-year-old Clyde Thompson slipped onto the lot of a furniture company as part of the game and attempted to steal the promotional balloon that was circling outside. With a gun that he claimed to have fired into the air to frighten the children, the store's owner fled the scene. Thompson was shot to death and everyone's graduation was ruined when the bullet landed on his body. Number 4. Senior in high school is feloniously charged for playing with dolls. Tyle Morton, then 18 years old, zipped up his hoodie, put on some latex gloves, and sneaked into the girls' toilet with a suspicious package on his final day of high school in June 2011. The Indiana State Police Bomb Squad and K-9 force were called in to dispose of the item after administrators evacuated the facility because they thought the man was attempting to bomb the school through the women's locker area. The cautious approach, which cost the school almost $8,000, was a big overreaction, because all that was inside the parcel was a sex doll. However, the state wished to make a show of Morton in order to discourage any future attempts by other carefree teenagers to have fun or stir up trouble. Morton was detained and accused of felony institutional criminal mischief, which carries a maximum 8-year jail sentence. Number 2. Firefighter dies while pursuing criminals. James Luther McRae, a 34-year-old fireman, heard some idiotic teenagers making noise in the street outside his house in October 2010, 5 months after his wedding. In Flomaton, Alabama, it was homecoming week, and the kids had a propensity to get a little boisterous. In addition to following the teenagers in his pickup and trying to acquire their tag number for the local deputies, McRae contacted 911 to report a break-in. He was thrown from his seat after losing control of his truck while rounding a corner. At the scene, he was identified as deceased. By the way, the youngsters had been rolling toilet paper around in a nearby yard. Number 1. Boys nearly kill teachers while serving them pot-laced muffins. Targeting the men and women who oppress you every day in high school, your teachers, is one of the simplest ways to let out your adolescent angst and rage. It hardly ever succeeds. 18-year-old Dallas, Texas students Joseph Telaini and Ian Walker exacted revenge by baking marijuana into brownies, which they then left in the teacher's lounge. 19 employees who ate the muffins became so ill that they had to visit the emergency department, which suggests that either they didn't do it properly or they used cheap, bad marijuana. One educator said, "I felt the effects for 10 days. I have never before used marijuana." The lads were given volunteer service and reparation orders after entering guilty pleas to various offenses. I guarantee everyone that this experience has opened my eyes to the real world. I have learned a great deal from it and will never do anything remotely criminal again, Walker wrote in his letter of remorse. The University of Texas, which I've heard is a dry campus, is where he headed next. What do you think about this video? Do let us know in the comments section below. If you want to hear from us again, make sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.